Hello, Fightful Faithful. Sorry for the delay. Welcome to the NXT After Party 2.0. I'm your host, Alex Pawlowski. With me, as always, is Kate Hensler. I believe the major releases happened after our last NXT 2.0 show, Kate.
Of course they did, because the reason I know that is this is our first episode without the William Regal.
Yep, or without the Samoa Joseph.
Without the Samoa Joseph. But we didn't really do a Samoa Joe impression.
No, there was never Samoa Joe. No.
Are you wearing gloves inside?
I was very cold in my basement. It's
no.
Yeah. So I have poor circulation sometimes. So
dang. All right.
It's nice. Anyway, no,
there's only a gimmick there. We're gonna find it.
The only Samoa Joe thing I have is as that time 5 years ago he would come out and just go Regal, which was my favorite part of him.
My favorite thing about Samoa Joe is the walkaway spot, which I feel like they didn't really let him do as much in NXT. But if you watch his old ROH stuff, when people would take an egregiously long time to go up to the top rope, he would just walk away from them before they could land the move, and it's like the best ring psychology device ever.
It really is great.
Sorry for the late start, everyone, but Linda just does not know how to use the StreamYard.
No, that's true. So neither do I, apparently. But as people hopefully trickle back in to talk about this thing that is NXT 2.0, the William Regal released, and I suppose we should have seen the writing on the wall, Sheila. We should have seen the writing on the wall. Once the William Regal is gone, then the Samoa Joe cannot be far behind. And from what I have heard, I don't know, have you heard? I don't know. They say that the HHH, he's bummed out backstage. He's very bummed, which is a phrase they used back in my time 50 years ago. You know what a bummer it was, dude. Oh, the HHH is sad because all of his friends got fired. I really do feel for the HHH.
I feel for the HHH too, and I feel bad for that Stephanie McMahon too, because that's her father and her husband that are at odds now. And don't forget, her whole staff got fired. Well, not her whole staff, but a good portion of the staff got fired. They were talking about it at the diner the other day.
It's true. Emily C says, Tuesdays are for the girls. Hello, Linda and Sheila. Hello, Emily C.
Hey, girl. Linda and Sheila for the ruckus.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah, always for the ruckus.
Guys, leave a thumbs up on this video. I know I asked you to in the chat already. We were mostly, you were getting set up, Alex, talking about how much my dad rules in the MLW news today. But if you could leave a thumbs up, also get those super chats in, as some people are already doing. A lot of people are already sending in humper chats, so thank you for that.
So send in super chats and humper chats, and we'll be reading them out into the ether as they come through.
It's an expensive show to do, guys. So the more you can support, because we have to pay me, Alex, we have to pay Mods, we have to pay Linda, we have to pay Sheila. You guys don't know how much the William Regal buyout is going to cost us.
It's true.
I mean, there's a lot. Tony D, if we don't pay him, the kashish, he comes in with the crowbar. It's not going to be pretty, So. No,
I know. It's it was very, very good. So here we go. I missed the MLW news, excuse me. So you'll have to news. I'm just here to support Team Kalex's. There's a better chance of MLW beating WWE in court than me ever watching a second of NXT Bruce.0 from R26. So what is this MLW news that give me the scuttlebutt, sweetheart?
Have you heard?
I haven't heard. Tell me.
The MLW, which is run, as you know, by the Court Bauer.
Yeah.
They're suing the WWE, saying that they have a monopoly on the industry and they violated the antitrust laws because the Vince McMahon, who we do not like, he does not seem like a very nice boy. I'm not into the Vince McMahon. I see him sometimes at the movies when I go to take in the pictures. Not a fan. He's very rude. He always sits in front of me, and he's taller than me, and he knows he's taller than me.
Yeah.
But anyway, he's suing the Vince McMahon by saying that he has stood in the way of people's contracts. He has stood in the way of them being on the Vice, which is not like just the verb, the Vice. It's also one of the television stations. So they're saying that they violated the antitrust laws. Now, it does not seem like something, in my opinion, which is not a legal opinion, because my nephew, he's a lawyer, but I'm not a lawyer, but I ask him about these things when we talk, when he comes over on Sundays for family dinner.
Of course.
So I'll ask him then. But I feel like the WWE, the legal, is just going to bankroll them until they go bankrupt. And I also feel like it's hard to say somebody's got a monopoly when you are, in fact, a wrestling company with other contracts that are operating, and there's another wrestling program that's on the television and sometimes even beating them in the ratings. So it's getting very interesting. It's getting very spicy. It's like my soap operas.
Now, when you talk about the antitrust, that sounds like what I had with my second husband. We trusted each other so little we had an antitrust. Oh, I'm so bad.
You're so bad. You're so bad.
Shauna Walensky says, Linda and Sheila appreciation chat. The only thing missing is a glass of wine and a Capri cigarette.
If I could have my ashtray.
My aunts Ida and Jenny are smiling from above.
We knew Ida and Jenny. Remember, we would play the backgammon with the Ida and the Jenny.
Well, yes, true. No, Ida, listen, not for nothing, Shauna, but your aunt Ida was a hell of a cheat. She would cheat at everything. She cheated on her husband. No, I'm not kidding. That didn't happen. I heard, but she denied it. I don't know what I'm doing. Guys. So Regal and Joe are gone, which of course is the final nail in the coffin.
They're gone from the NXT 2.0.
The black and gold is gone. If you need any more evidence of that,
watch the show.
Watch the show. Watch the show. But the Tommaso Ciampa and the Peter Dunn, they went to the Raw last night and they taped matches for the main event which airs on the Hulu. And they're not against each other, but like against other people, and they won. Like the Tommaso Ciampa had a match against the T-Bar, which we used to know as the Dominik Dijakovic kick. I don't remember how to pronounce his name. It's very Slavic. But anyway, he won that match. And the Peter Dunn, he won a match against the Akira Tozawa, who I've heard is a ninja now. I don't watch that program anymore. But they've won, and apparently this is to me, when you saw what happened to the Peter Dunn tonight, it just seems like he's going up to the next level.
It sure does. I mean, you would think that, because back in our day, wins and losses used to mean something, but not so much anymore, though. But I think this is a sign that maybe they realize they kind of fit in on the old brand. I don't know where they go from here. I don't feel like they fit in on the main roster either.
They don't. Yeah. They don't fit here. And on the main roster, we got to hope, but.
Shauna Walensky, thank you for pulling that up in real time. Because
if you only knew how accurate your account of Aunt Ida was, she was a character, LOL. Oh, that's good. Jay Blood says, just to think, all these releases and horrible calamity have come about because the McMahons decided to listen to the audience. Remember that a few years ago? Listening to the audience?
Kevin Owens was
we are the authority. So in a way, since we are the authority, in a way, we fired William Regal.
Was I drunk?
I don't know. Was it a Wednesday? Because
oh my God.
If so, then yes. Paul Hensler says, nice to have hot sour graps with Kalex on a frigid night in before JW Pringle. And then JW Pringle responds, hey, Kate's mom and dad, we're out of holidays for a bit, so happy Yabadoo. At least that's what I think is said at the beginning of Cena's theme. Yabadoo! I always thought it was Rapadoo because he's a rapper.
I think it might be. Yabadoo is very Flintstone.
Yeah. It's true. So let's talk, I guess, about what happened on NXT.
It wasn't the worst.
No, it wasn't.
I felt like the first hour was significantly better than the second hour.
Well, listen, they had Tony D hitting Pete Dunne in the face with a crowbar. So how bad could it be? I guess
this show had everything. A crowbar, not the WCW one.
No, not that guy. Different guy.
A sleeping lady who was once a 5,000-year-old dragon lady. A woman who's obsessed with her pool.
Yes. Yeah.
She never gets out of the pool. We'll get to that,
Yeah.
but
Mandy Rose is turning into Mandy Prune.
She is.
We got the Bron Breakker who comes out and
sure did.
Listen, I have been watching wrestling for a long time. I think this is the first I've ever heard a "you deserve it, no you don't" chant. Listen, of all the guys in NXT 2.0, of all the Saved by the Bell, the new class, to do a "no you don't" chant to, Bron Breakker isn't that guy. He's obviously really, really great and going to be something in the future. I understand you're sad because your guy Tommaso Ciampa lost, and I understand too. But read the writing on the wall, sweetie. The NXT 1.5, it's over. You don't have to cling to it anymore. It's getting kind of embarrassing.
I think it's a combination of things. I think one, what you said, people that have been going to the Performance Center for years are upset about this. I think it's also the fact that people like William Regal and Samoa Joe got let go, and Bron Breakker is kind of their only scapegoat right now. And I also think it might have a little bit to do with the schizophrenic heel face situation that we were getting, where people were like, well, we're supposed to boo him in War Games, but he's a face the rest of the time. So I think people might just still be settling in. Maybe that's giving them too much credit, but he sure as hell is the face now, and he's great at this. And he's one of the entertaining parts of the show, so maybe don't shit on that piece of it.
Yeah, he also put over Ciampa for being a good loser. Not only is he great, but afterwards he told me it's my time now. Go out and do this. This is basically you're NXT now, kid. So make the most of it. And then he went over and he said, and then he went over to talk to my father, pay respects to my father. And I was like, who is your father? Would you tell me what your father's name is? We'd all like to know where all he is. Say your father's name, Braun. Come on, Brawny boy. Say your father's name. And he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't tell us what his dad's name was.
Who is your daddy and what does he do?
Exactly.
Right?
So they acknowledged that his dad was there, but not that his dad was former multiple time tag team champion in WWF and WCW. And just an all around great gremlin, dog faced or otherwise. Rick Steiner. They didn't mention that at all. But anyway, he said, anybody wants to come out and challenge me, go ahead and do it. And I was like, who's it gonna be? Oh, no, I guess not. I was hoping there was gonna be somebody who was like, okay, I'll challenge you, but nobody did. And they did that again later where I was like, who's gonna challenge Carmelo Hayes? No, nobody. No. Not yet. They haven't figured that out yet. I'm like every day you come in to train, I've already been here training. Every day you come in to watch film, I'm already watching film. I'm like, do they watch film anymore? Don't they
also, do they watch the same film?
I mean, perhaps it's different film. But I mean, I know he used to play football, so that's the old mentality. But don't they just send you a link and you can open it on your iPad at home? I don't know why you have to come in to watch film. It's very interesting. But anyway.
Well, maybe you don't attend Andre Chase University where we watch film all the time.
Well, I remember they would have film strips, and you would get it, and they would come in there, and they just go around and around and around like that. You'd wear them at home like that.
You remember the projectors?
Of course.
We have one of the projectors.
Oh.
We still do.
Nice. Very nice.
It's in the attic.
Well, that's where they belong, you know.
That's
you don't bring it out. You bring it out every week. Why would you take up space in the closet?
No, of course. It's just for when the grandkids come over and we bring out the slides. They've never seen it before. They don't even know what it is. Every time, it's the funniest thing. Technology, I'll tell you. If I go on about this, the show's going to be 3 hours, and we're going to get for all of us, which is a lot of people, are going to get fired by Sean.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm here to win, to prove that I'm deserve to be the champion, right? Good, fine. That's it. Over and done. We move on. I don't know what their plans are for him going forward. Like what do you do?
They don't know what their plans are.
You know what I mean? Like as far as, is he getting an imminent call up? Is he like gonna show up on Raw with the belt in tow and get pinned by whoever the equivalent is now of the dried out husk of Jeff Hardy? Are they going to do that to him? Because you never know.
If I am WWE booking, and make no mistake, we have differences of opinion, the WWE creative and myself. I say debut him at Royal Rumble. I think we talked about this briefly last week, so sorry if it's redundant, but I say debut him at Royal Rumble, let him get some huge eliminations, talk him up as your NXT champion, and then don't touch him until you're ready to properly call him up to the main roster, maybe around SummerSlam time. But I think let the main roster audience get a taste of who this guy is. He's super impressive. He's a guy that you kind of instantly fall in love with too. I think that's a really good thing. And I think it would be cool to have him come take up a Rumble spot, but then don't do a program on the main roster where he's being 50-50 booked and he's crossing back over to NXT. If you want to do something like they're doing with AJ, where it seems like he's being sent down to work a program or whatever, fine. But I feel like the crossover with the main roster stuff doesn't usually go smoothly, and he needs to just be so protected. So you've chosen to give him a title run. Let him have a title run. It doesn't have to be super long, but let him do that through Mania weekend. And then I say bring him up around SummerSlam time. If Roman retains against Brock or whatever, like have him maybe dethrone Roman at SummerSlam. But that's what I do if I'm them. But I don't think they know what they're doing. I have no reason to believe they know what they're doing. They haven't given me faith in that in years.
We'll talk about this at length. Like, while I'm very pleased with the result of the main event, it makes no sense to me whatsoever. So we'll talk about that later. They don't know what they're doing. They have no plans for anything. I guess maybe they have a plan that Santos Escobar might challenge Bron Breakker, because like they have the little ships passing in the night thing they do in NXT now. Because Santos has to come out to have a fight with Zion Quinn about the Elektra Lopez, and whether or not she's gonna side with her familia, or if she's gonna side with, you know, her loins, or I don't know what you'd say, like
her lady loins.
Yeah, that's right. So this is a match. This is a match that happens. It's fine. There was the weird, like, whoa, we're making you think it's gonna end one way and then it's gonna end a different way. I suppose they call that a swerve.
Swerve, bro.
But yeah, it was I don't know. Like, honestly, like it was fine. The match was okay. I still don't know where Legado stands in this particular version. So they to me seem like an act you could call them up, especially just Santos and his two boys. You could call them up right now and they could do something. They could be something. You could do something with them on the main roster. They're at least ready for it. Which is why I kind of thought Elektra might choose Zion Quinn, because then it gives Santos, they're so thin on the main roster. They have nobody up there. So like the more the merrier, I say. Perhaps that was something they might have done, but No, I guess not, because she teases that she's on Zion's side by standing in the way so that Santos can't like throw him into the ring post or something. And then she like feels his muscles, his rippling deltoids. I felt like I was back I was sitting back eating some bonbons watching a romance movie. It's so sexy. And then he turns around and she kicks him in the junk and rolls him into the ring so that he can get Phantom drove by the Santos Escobar. And that's it.
So there were a few things that I liked. One, we had a definitive finish. It did not end as a DQ.
I did like that. Yeah.
That shouldn't be noteworthy, but somehow here we are.
Yeah.
And I also thought she was going to go with Zion Quinn, so I'm at least intrigued by the fact that she went with her family. I think, like, the obvious thing was for Hit Row to get called up to one brand and for Legado to get called up to the other brand, and then they let Hit Row go. And I still think they go up to the main roster, but I don't know if you do that right before Rumble season.
Yeah.
I feel like it might just get like a little muddy when you have, but they need tag teams up there, so you could at least do something. But I don't know. For some reason, it just doesn't seem like the timing is necessarily right. Maybe post Mania or something. But I don't think they necessarily have a ton of like room left in this version of NXT. Like there's not really. I guess Diamond Mine they could run back like a really like a long feud with, but I mean,
honestly, I mean, I don't know who the face is there. I suppose you could Malcolm Bivens could make them fun to root for, but they're not really a face team. But Strong versus Escobar, just for the hell of it, with the Creeds and Legado there, that could make some fun 6-man tags and tag team matches and stuff. Like, it could eat up time every week, which you might need to do because it looks like a lot of these guys are greener than green. So
I think Malcolm Bivens could get something really good out of Elektra Lopez too, like from a mic dynamic standpoint. Yeah. I feel like that could be a good thing for literally developing her along. I think that could be beneficial. I really think the more I thought about it though, and I was angry at you for it, but like in a good way, I really think they need to pair Bivens with Omos. I think you're so right. I feel like that's the only way to make Omos work. And I feel like there's so much that Bivens could do on the main roster. So
to me, you don't need to make Omos work. I'm fine with him not working.
I'm fine with it. They seem to be intent on it.
If you're gonna put him on my TV show, nearly shoot like breaking somebody's arm because he doesn't know how to do a choke slam against a jobber last night. Like, he tossed him. He didn't slam him. He tossed him out. And he was trying to catch his bearings and landed on his shoulder all wrong. Like, it was just a freak occurrence, and he didn't break his arm.
There's been a few of those between Phoenix on Wednesday and that yesterday. But that's bad because I've never like been to wrestling school, but that seems like Big Guy 101 is how you do a choke slam. I think Harland can do it at this point. Like, that seems pretty basic. So I'm with you, but if they're intent on making Omos work, I think Bivens is a really, really, really good choice to do it because he could use the help. I think Bivens can make a lot of people entertaining and make sense, so he could do a lot of work on the main roster.
Yeah.
But if not, I think he and Elektra Lopez would have a good dynamic, and I guess I hate to be like, those are the two stables we have, so make them work. But like that could run back a lot of feuds in the same story, essentially.
We got a Humper chat from Yas NYC.
Yas NYC.
Hey guys. First time viewer, and now I'm hooked. You guys are really funny. Keep up the incredible entertainment. I'm here for good now. Love from NYC. Well, we love to see the love coming from New York. We love New York, of course.
It ain't what it used to be.
No, of course not.
But we love the New York. We love the Big Apple.
I just want to take a big old bite.
This is the first time you're here and you heard that madness and we started late and you're sticking around. God bless you. You're the best. Yes, you and NYC.
So, I yeah, Mark Losper, yes. Oh no, is Ciampa on the main roster? Seems bad. It very well might be. Like there's nothing for him to do left in NXT 2.0. I can't imagine he'll like get great booking, but like there's a huge hole in the mid card on both shows.
Yeah,
like they got nothing going on there. They don't have anything. Like apparently, like have you heard the Shinsuke Nakamura? He's working through an injury. He's been hurt. He's got a hurt hand, which is why he never defends the title. That's what the Eric Boog said.
I had no idea until the Eric Boog said that, but it makes sense. I think maybe he should have vacated the title. He could have vacated it to the Sami Zayn, who never really lost it. The story we're getting now, we could have gotten months ago.
Yeah.
But
instead they said, let's have the gorilla who plays a guitar. Let's have him beat the Sami Zayn because that makes all the sense.
Yeah. I'm gonna say that booking isn't like their strong suit at the moment.
Yeah.
But I will say there are matches I would like to see Ciampa, and I would love to see Ciampa versus Owens. I would love to see Ciampa versus Rollins. I would like to see Ciampa versus Nakamura. I think that could be very good or whoa. I think there's a lot of really good matches that could happen up there from an in-ring standpoint. I just don't trust them with anything creative, but I don't trust them with anything creative in NXT. So if it's going to be the same situation, but Ciampa gets paid more, I'm for it.
Mark Losper, who watched the show for the first time tonight, because he's great, and he did that, I guess, for us. So he says, did the finish to Elektra Lopez thing make more sense if you watched the show? To me, it seemed like a total waste of time. Well, that's the watchword for the whole damn show there, Mark. There's everything's a total waste of time. Most things are anyway. And no. I mean, if you watch the show, I don't know, going back a long time, it was like, will Elektra Lopez abandon her family to pork some dude? Like that was the whole thing. Like, I'm sorry, true love for her familia or for true love, a guy she's met like 3 times. So no, I mean, it was basically her lust or her duty to her family. And I guess she chose duty to her family.
As sour as we are on the show, I've actually kind of liked the storyline. It was very much, if you haven't been watching, but you've been watching this show, you know that I've kind of liked this telenovela angle. Because I don't think at any point it was meant to really be taken seriously. There's this like weird Fast and Furious, like, are you family dynamic with that? Like, I've kind of had some fun with it. That doesn't mean it was fundamentally sound wrestling. It was just like fundamentally sound enough that I could buy into this trope that we've seen, and they seem to be having some fun with it. So I was at least entertained by it. I don't know if it made more sense if you've been watching with past context. I also don't know, can women pork dudes?
I think I thought it was kind of like a thing.
But can they do the porking?
I mean, I suppose if she's into that kind of thing.
You are so bad with
it. I mean, listen, so they have a whole selection of things, items, accoutrements that you could use to help you in that area.
I already heard all about husband number 6. You don't have to tell me more.
So okay. Mandy's in her pool.
Mandy loves her pool. She has loved it since Otis.
Yeah.
Obsessed with her pool.
But
she's
it wasn't even
out of the pool once in the past month.
Remember the scuttlebutt back at the time. That wasn't even her pool. It was Zack Ryder's pool, who we now know is the Matt Cardona.
It was not, though. They asked him if they could use his pool, and he was like, woo, 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 you fired me. No, you cannot use my pool, right?
Well, wasn't that the whole thing? I thought they did it, and that he found about it later because they did it because Chelsea Green was still there at the time. before she broke her arm qualifying for Survivor Series and then didn't get into the thing and they fired her as well. That's what I remember. But then again, my memory's not so good anymore.
Oh, neither is
mine. Who are you? I forgot. Anyway.
Oh, you stop it right now. You know who I
am. Mandy's in her pool, and she's, this is what a real champion looks like.
Hold on, though. We have to talk about this because she's been out of the pool once, and it was to fight her championship match. Mm-hmm. She won that match, and she was like, I'm back in the pool.
Right.
She's obsessed. SAT time. Mandy Rose is to her pool as Tiffany Stratton is to tennis and not wrestling.
That's right.
That's it. I can't handle how obsessed she is with the pool. And now she's doing like a pool photo shoot with music. And we're going to hear that same song later in the show. So she's obsessed with the pool and she can't stop listening to the song. I think she has OCD.
Mm-hmm. So also she had a photo shoot wearing a different bikini and holding up the I mean, I don't know. I mean, listen, whatever you want to do. Listen, whatever you want to do, I'm fine. I'm not here to kink shame or whatever you want to call it. Your lifestyle is yours. You do whatever you feel, honey. More power to you.
I heard about husband number 4 too.
I do not know what a bikini has to do with being a wrestling champion. You can't wrestle in it. There's going to be wardrobe malfunctions all over the place. It's not wrestling gear. I feel like if you're going to take a photo holding the title up, you should at least be wearing wrestling gear. But then again, I'm old-fashioned.
I mean, Shawn Michaels was wearing nothing when he took a photo of that title. Thank you.
Touche. I still have that up on my wall framed. I'm looking at it right now. Oh, my God. HBK.
He was breaking hearts all over the place.
Turned me into HBL, Heartbroken Linda.
And they have had ladies wrestling in bikinis. It was called the Attitude Era, man.
I know. But yeah.
Now, this is what a champion looks like.
This is what a champion looks like, wearing a bikini.
Get me from a good angle.
And then,
every angle's
every angle's a good angle. And then later, Kaylee Ray happens upon the film, the photo shoot set. And then she breaks all the cameras and the lighting equipment and everything with a baseball bat. So I guess that's next is Kaylee Ray versus the Mandy Rose.
Yes. I feel bad for the photographer because it's not the photographer's fault, and she really just went after the photographer's equipment, which is Kaylee. I get it. You have a temper, but you gotta get it together. It's just kind of rude, and I think misdirected anger.
Yeah. Luis Armand says, as a former swimmer, can confirm that going to the pool too much is real bad.
Yeah, and thank God she's not a blonde anymore and is a brunette, because that'll turn your hair green if you don't use the right shampoo.
It's true. I was never a blonde, but I remember people would tell me at the time.
I had neighbors that lived up the street. Their name were the Gilroys, and they did not use chlorine conditioner and shampoo, and their hair was just always green for entire summers. It was wild. Yeah. Shout out to the Gilroys.
Yeah. So Mark Losper says, this effing Mandy promo. I legitimately think that Bruce and Vince are exclusively marketing Mandy towards random dudes who haven't discovered internet porn. It's certainly some people who like work or promo ability. This was dog shit.
Vince might be the guy that has not discovered free internet porn. It might just be Vince McMahon at this point.
And JW Pringle says, hey, that Mandy Rose has left NXT and found TNA. Yeah, forget about it, gabagool. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't have anything to say besides that. It's true.
I think you guys are missing the point.
She's hot.
She's hot. Yeah.
Oh,
I think you guys.
I'd forgotten.
It's like meta. That. You know what I mean?
Yep. So we get a Cameron Grimes video package. 2022 is going to be the year he goes to the moon, and then he faces Damon Kemp, who is Gable Steveson brother, who's going straight to the main roster whenever he finishes up at University of Minnesota. But they changed his brother's name. They're not changing Gable Stevenson's name because they're going to use the whole point of, hey, he's an Olympic gold medalist or whatever. They're going to
not my brother is an Olympic gold.
Like I don't think he's an Olympic medalist, but he definitely was like a high ranking collegiate wrestler. So my thought is they were going to make them into like a brother team.
Yeah, have them face the Creed brothers. That would be sick.
Right. And eventually the Usos or whatever. Like that's the whole point. But I guess they think that the other brother isn't quite good enough to even have the actual name. So they gave him Damon. Damon Kemp is the most like Damon Kemp is a kid you went to school with who like used to like collect pencil erasers or something. Like it was just, hey, oh, that's Damon. Yeah. Like
he's gonna become Damon Steiner. That's what's gonna happen.
Oh, there you go.
He needs to work on his selling, man. There were some spots in this where he was getting his ass kicked and didn't sell a thing. But I'm ready for 2022. The moon. I feel like they're sterilizing Cameron Grimes a little bit, but there also just wasn't like a ton to dig into here. Like I don't know. We got
Bivens, I guess, scouting Damon Kemp, and from like if it actually is Malcolm Bivens is supposed to be really good at his job, he would have watched for about 30 seconds, then turned around and walked away because he'd be like, "Nah, I'm good, thanks, kid. Maybe next time." Because here's the thing: because he was standing there for so long, I thought the next program for Roddy Strong was going to be Cameron Grimes, but as we saw later, Cameron Grimes is going for Carmelo Hayes. So then he must have been out there to scout Damon Kemp and acting like he liked what he saw, which just belies any truth at all because he wasn't great yet. He wasn't great yet. He could eventually become good, but right now, no.
I think WWE logic was like, oh, he's an athletic guy in a singlet. So that's who Malcolm Bivens is recruiting right now. So send him out there. Sometimes you have to see potential in people, Alex. They're not great this second. But Malcolm Bivens can make people great. Darn it. Look what he did with those 2 loaves of bread, as you called him.
Yeah, that's true. Brothers. They were.
This was a little confusing to me, too. I'm intrigued to see... Like, at first, I didn't realize Kemp was Stevenson's brother at all or anything like that. I thought he was just there to job to Cameron Grimes. So I also thought that Malcolm Bivens was out there to see Cameron Grimes and set up a potential feud, which is a feud I would like to see, by the way.
So I'm seeing stuff here. Did I miss something? I did not see the Bivens Twitter promo about Walter. I missed that. But I did see the thing was on TV, the Imperium promo, which was like, "We are Imperium. We come from Europe, where notably nobody is fat. And in America, all of you are fat. Fatty, fat, 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 fatty American fat." And I was like, well, like, I know Walter slimmed down a bit, but you can't be like, we are perfect specimens and we look perfect. That's why we put our hands behind our back. We are the Imperium. There are no body fat on us. And we will flick you with our fingers and you will land in your own baby poop. We're not like that's a weird thing to do for like all of Imperium. Like if Bartel and Aichner want to do that, that's fine. But like it's a weird thing to be like, these are guys who are schlubs, and like Walter's huge, and I wouldn't say it to his face, but like, and I'm a very large man. But the idea, I don't go around and say, "Hey, everybody over there, you're all fat." Like even if I was Walter's size, I wouldn't do that. That was a weird thing to do. But anyway,
no,
Imperium is here forever.
He's not like an Adonis type, we'll put it that way. Like It's not I feel like usually that angle goes along with someone who is like a specimen. I think what you missed with Bivens, I didn't actually see the promo, but people were tweeting it at me. But I was walking my dog and it's 18 degrees and I didn't want to have my phone out because my fingers were freezing. But It sounds like because Malcolm Bivens let Omos debut in his suit, because Omos and Bivens are the same size, people have been calling for Walter versus Omos because they're two big guys, and now people are rightfully calling for Bivens versus Walter.
They're the
which
same
makes
size.
sense. Yes, they're the exact same size.
Yeah. But anyway, it was like they spent a lot of time like finding a lot of different people like sitting like this and looking on their phones and eating Cheetos because I don't know. Whatever. I feel like you can get Imperium over in a way that isn't this. But
yeah,
what do I know?
They could be like they could be like winter coat time, and they could come out in winter coats.
Yeah.
And they could face jacket time.
Mm-hmm.
And they could talk about what's more seasonally appropriate.
I missed this. Luis has written Von Wagner attacked Duke Hudson. Did I see that? I missed it.
He was suspended for doing so.
No, he attacked Andre Chase.
Oh, if you missed it, then I missed it too, because I did not see that.
I think he attacked a kid in the front row, but I don't know.
Oh, that's right. He attacked the student last week.
Yeah. So
you mean he showed up to attack someone else when he was suspended?
Well, then he was he was suspended for that, and then he was fined. And then later in the night, like he was with the heinous nature of his actions. They said earlier in the night, with the heinous nature of his actions, we can only assume that we won't be seeing Von Wagner for a long, long time. And I was like, oh, good. So he's going to go away and learn a lot of things about the wrestling business. And when he comes back, he'll be better at all those things and probably have a gimmick change because whatever this was, didn't work. And then later in the night, they were like, well, we just got word somebody paid Wagner's fine and his suspension's been lifted. Well, and Wade Barrett goes, well, who did it? I don't know. It seems like anybody who was able to give you the information that his fine was paid off would also know who paid off said fine. It's a very weird thing for you to have only half of that information. That's all I would have to say about that.
I feel like one could even make the educated guess that it's probably Robert Stone.
Probably.
Like, at least hypothesize on this.
But I don't know, how does he have money? Like, he's only ever managed losers. Like, how does he have money?
Wasn't his whole original thing that it was like a dig at Tony Khan? Maybe it's his dad's money.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I guess it was. All right.
Maybe he's best friends with Tiffany Stratton. Tiffany Stratton and Robert Stone would actually be like a great pairing. Do that.
Yeah.
There you go.
Sure. Why not do that? We got a promo backstage with Gacy and Harlan.
We did.
About they got a play-in match. There's literally nobody else has a play-in match. The actual tournament starts next week. They've never told us who's in the tournament. We can assume who's in the tournament, but they haven't really told. There's no bracket. We're just whatever. We know it's not Gacy and Harlan because they have a promo. It's fine. Gacy is sinking into this role better and better every week. There's less and less of the bullshit that started this whole thing. It's just him being a creepy dude who's obviously leader of a cult. He does do the safe space thing, which I know you hate, but it's only there to trigger you at this point, Kate.
I accept that.
And then they have a match with Malik Blade and Idris Enofe. And I was like, oh, those poor gentlemen, they're going to get destroyed. And like they did, but so much so that Harlan was disqualified. And so these guys, Malik Blade and Idris Enofe, they lost. I mean, they won, but they lost. They got their asses handed to them, especially Malik Blade, by Harlan. Like, Joe Gacy is in there wrestling for a while. He tags in. Harlan comes in.
Joe Gacy's really good.
He's good. And then he crushes Malik Blade up against the turnbuckles, past the 5 count. So the ref rings the bell, and then Harlan was going to murder the ref until Joe Gacy, I guess, like told him not to. And then Edison Ofe and Malik Blade stood up in the ring going like, yeah, we won. Yeah. Like it's Daniel LaRusso at the end of the Karate Kid. Like, I wanted them to carry each other off on each other's shoulders, if that's even at least possible, because that's how much they seem to be enjoying themselves after winning via disqualifications because they got their asses kicked so much.
So I kind of like that. This feels like a reversal of the trope, right? Like, I feel like usually it's someone becomes unhinged. I feel like this whole thing with Harland is about reining him in, which is different. And we don't usually see that in wrestling. We don't see something that we've never seen before. We see a lot of twists on things that we have seen before and stuff that we've seen before. But when it's done right, oh, it's done so well, like Hangman and Kenny or whatever, right? So I enjoy that this has been like, okay, 1 week he straight up assaulted someone, and that's not cool. Yeah. And then this week it was like, okay, we kept it in the confines of wrestling, but it cost the victory. Like, it makes the fact that Joe Gacy has to talk this guy down feel kind of sincere, and it makes it easier for me to buy into in that way. So I really liked it. The over-celebrating was a little bit much. I think there's something with Malik Blade. I think there's some potential there.
Sure.
And I agree with you that when they announced the, what did they call it? The play-in match or whatever it was, and it's only them. It just made me miss ROH so much. It made me miss ROH so much because, and I love AEW, but like the rankings don't actually mean anything in AEW. They mean it sometimes. ROH had rules and they were always followed, and they had divisions where things happened clearly, and the rules were followed, and when they weren't, there were consequences for those actions. Never did they half-ass it, and it just made me miss them so much because I was just like, God, they were the closest thing left to NXT 1.5, I feel like, and now they're gone. But yeah, it's like if you're having a tournament, then have a tournament. And you know who would find that disgusting? Dusty Rhodes. Dusty Rhodes would have hated you just having one buy-in match, because there's nothing to say, the top 8 teams are already in, and it's between teams 9 and 10 to duke it out for the spot because there aren't rankings, right? So there were just 2 teams that had to duke it out for reasons unbeknownst to anybody. So anyway, Kate's crying over ROH to Dell music and sitting in bed eating macaroni and cheese. Tour continues.
As the Guru says, this NXT, using Dusty Rhodes' name is a disgrace. I agree. It's a disgrace using my name like that.
It's hard times is what it is.
Hard times, Daddy. I do think that I just want to congratulate the Malik Blade and the Idris.
The Malik Blade.
Yes, because a few weeks ago, they didn't even know each other because the Von Wagner was getting in the face of the Idris Enofe, and the Malik Blade came up and said, hello, we are both of the same skin shade. We should become a tag team. And then they did, and they won their first match via getting their asses kicked too much. And now they're in the tournament, and they're my dark horse to win. That sounded bad because this, but anyway, yes, it's not. It's fine. Good for them. I'm very happy. They seem like nice boys.
When the Von Wagner was getting in their face, it reminded me of the time that me, you, and Darla went walking at the mall. And remember, you were like, I want to go down to where the JCPenney's is because I want to get my full 2 miles in. And she was like, we are not doing that. I am tired and I want my Cinnabon. And she just got right up in your face. That's what the Von Wagner reminded me.
You never want to stand between her and her Cinnabon. Don't do it. You'll lose an arm.
You will lose an arm if you stand between her and the Cinnabon. Be more of an Annie Ann scale. Mm-hmm. I preferred the pretzel. Mm-hmm. But all we had to do was finish the loop at the JCPenney's. But no, she needed a Cinnabon right then.
Oh, yeah. So.
What are we doing?
I don't know what we're doing. We're certifiable. We are planning at some point, guys. We are planning an all Linda and Sheila show called "Have You Heard?" where we just discuss the rumors in wrestling of the day. But I'm not sure when that's going to happen or even if. But we have the idea, so it's possible.
It's a when. It is a when. I need it in my life.
Yeah. Anyway.
Huge pop for Cinnabon at the chat.
Yes. Cinnabon! Yeah, everyone loves Cinnabon.
Cinnabon is elite. It should get a graphic. It should get an all elite graphic.
Oh boy.
We have fun.
We do. So we had a Tony D promo on PD Poppins. He's like, hey, you wouldn't even let me take my trophy? I want a little mouthpiece. Take home with me, put up on my mantle. And you wouldn't let me have that? Okay, fine. Now I'm gonna have to kill you. Like, Petey, you're just like my mutt Stromboli when he goes to the bathroom on the floor of the parlor. Then just like my dog, you're gonna learn that it's Tony D who's in charge. I still love Tony D.
Me too, but I'm very concerned about his dog if they need to call animal services.
Yeah.
You can't just abuse your dog when they go to the
what
bathroom.
What is abuse? He just said abuse. You have to teach. He didn't say that. He said that my dog goes to the bathroom on the floor of the parlor, and the parlor is the nicest room in the mansion. So you have to discipline the dog. I mean, you can't I'm not saying he's gonna beat the dog or something.
He didn't say it with his words, but he said it with his eyes.
I think you're too hard on the Tony D. He's a nice boy.
You just like him because he brings you the pastrami from the deli.
I do.
But I tell you what,
I'm not saying I don't.
I think he pockets the change. I think you're getting ripped off.
Oh, he's welcome to. He's the one who's schlepping all the way down to the deli. I get to sit at home. He goes and I call him up. I say, Tony, sweetheart, would you go down to the deli for Aunt Linda and get me a nice pastrami? And he says,
well, I see him.
Sure. And he does, and he comes over and he rings my doorbell. He's very nice, and I answer the doorbell. I'm in my house coat, of course. But then I say, hello, Tony. You just passed me the thing. I don't want to open the door too much more than the crack because I don't want you to say I'm in my house coat. But here you go. Thank you very much.
I know, but I saw you put the picture on the Facebook of the two of you with the pastrami, and he was wearing that Knicks jersey, and I don't know what the bing bong is all about.
Now, I've heard of the ping pong. Is that the same thing or is that different?
I think it's different. I don't know what.
Well, I know they're different. One is a B and one is a P, but I'm not really sure. Is it also some kind of table tennis?
Perhaps it's a tiny ping pong. I never even thought about that.
I don't know. So we get our Pete Dunne versus Tony D'Angelo crowbar in a pole match. And this thing almost went awry badly because that crowbar, it was hung up on a pole, right? Because crowbar on a pole, but it was like hung up by like a chain on each end of the crowbar, looped over a hook, and one of the ends of the chain gave way, so it was just dangling by one end of the crowbar, and it almost fell, which, like, I don't know, 10 minutes before the match ended. And we're like, okay, well, I guess we're going to go to the finish now. But it didn't. So.
Yeah, they need to make sure that weapons are secure when they are suspended above the ring, especially when they are a crowbar. They are heavy and dangerous because that's the point of them.
Right.
So, yeah.
This went about as well as a crowbar on a pole match where one end of the crowbar fastening gave way during the match. That it went about as well as that kind of match could go, honestly.
Yeah, but it was weren't you so distracted?
Yes.
I could not focus. I was just like, it's gonna fall, it's gonna fall, it's gonna fall.
I don't normally do this. Manny Santos says, I've just been told that the crowbar chain has been cut due to budget cuts. Sorry, I shouldn't do that. You have to send in the super chat, but that was too good to leave out. So
the William Regal would have been the one to double check if it was suspended in the air properly or not. And you know what? They let him go in this economy. Can you believe it?
I can't believe it. Listen, everyone's being let go, or resigning from their jobs because they're so mistreated and not paid well enough. That's what my nephew tells me that, but I don't really know anything about it. I haven't worked in years. I thought this was notable, mostly for the fact that that the crowbar got a lot of play from both guys.
Yes.
Usually it's like when the weapon comes off the pole, that's the end of the match.
Which is my complaint with on a pole, save Judy Bagwell. Like, on a pole matches usually end when the thing, like, just when it's supposed to get good. That's when it ends, which I don't like. But this one got a lot of play, and it's a violent weapon, and Tony D'Angelo has a violent style in the ring. Him versus Eddie Kingston is now officially a dream match of mine. Especially after what he did to Gabriel Kidd. I don't know if you saw that New Japan match. Oh, boy! Eddie Kingston's real good at wrestling. This was great, and the booking surprised me, too. But I think that means we're probably going to lose Pete Dunne maybe from this as well, right? So,
well, the thing about this is I was watching this and I'm going like, well, Pete Dunne already had his match on Main Event, which is going to be Thursday on the Hulu. So he might get called up. I honestly don't know what he's so much better than whatever they're going to give him to do on the main roster. But there's nothing for him here anymore.
Right.
He's not gonna beat Bron Breakker for NXT title. He might. I thought they might have him feud with Breakker, like have Breakker like have him put over Breakker in a feud. But they might just be willing, like, you know what? Everybody who was from the black and gold, you're either released or you're going to the main roster. Pick one. Like, I feel like that might be a thing that actually happens. And if that is the case, and he is moving up, then you gotta have him put over Tony D here, and they did, and in a way that like made it look like made sense. Like at the end, after a lot of maneuvers being done with the crowbar, I want to put over one thing where like Pete Dunne with his broken hand grabbed for the crowbar, and Tony D put his foot on the crowbar so he couldn't move it, and then Tony D's like, what do you think you're gonna do? And he just stomps on his broken hand holding the crowbar. It's like, this, what the hell do you think you want? Like, I love when heels are like, you have to think this through. This is a dumb thing for you to do, and I'm gonna make you pay for it. I think that was logical thing for him to do. I like that a lot. There was his swinging neck breaker with the crowbar, which cranked down on the neck. I thought that was really great. And the match ended because Tony D hit Pete Dunne, it looked like in the head, was actually in the collarbone with the crowbar. Now, that was obviously a worked crowbar, but Jesus, that's a great way to end a match. A guy gets hit in the head with a crowbar, he's not getting up. So that's how you, like, I love Pete Dunne. And I'm fine with him putting over Tony D because I think Tony D, I think he's got a huge future in front of him in NXT 2.0. But I wouldn't want it to be like, oh, this was obviously tailored to put over Tony D and make Pete Dunne look bad. It was a good match, and Pete Dunne is not kicking out of being hit in the forehead with a crowbar, so it makes sense.
What I also liked about the spot that you mentioned with the broken hand, you know better than this kind of look on his face is so great because Pete Dunne is also not a rookie. He's a veteran. So he should know better. Where if that's like a rookie in that spot, I feel like the reaction should be like, you fucking idiot. But like somebody who has been around for a while knows, like should have better in-ring instincts to that. So I also very much like that spot. And yeah, I think part of what worked about this match is just that Tony D is actually really good. Like, I think it didn't feel like Pete Dunne was putting him over so that he could go out on his back to him like Kyle O'Reilly and Baron Wagner did. Mm-hmm. It felt like they were at least evenly enough matched, and because Tony D is a suplex machine, and because the crowbar was used creatively in the match, it didn't feel like anybody was compensating for anything this entire match. Like, it kind of felt authentically somewhat violent. And I really liked it. I thought it was really, really well done. And Tony D continues to be him and Hook, man. They're just taking 2022 by storm as the guys we thought we were going to be meme wrestlers, but actually ended up being pretty damn good.
I think everyone's just is over the moon for Hook because he really is a sensation. Like, but Tony D's not a slouch, and they like anytime they ask you to play a character this outlandish, and you like take it and make it into an actual person, like it feels like yes, he's got a crazy accent and whatever, and he's over the top, but like. He just feels like a character from The Sopranos, which was a drama that everyone praised for its realism. So, like, you know, like it's perfectly fine. That person exists. The thing about certain characters, like for example, we're about to talk about Wendy Choo. That person does not exist in real life. But I believe that Tony D exists. That's a person that exists in the world, and that's a difference.
You're also not the craziest character on the show when you're there with like a serial killer and a 5,000-year-old dragon lady who's now someone that sleeps all the time. Like, so the other part of that is the context that he's functioning in, which is ridiculous that he's not the most ridiculous character on the show.
Yeah. If this is the swan song for Pete Dunne and he's out of the this is I think the right guy to put over to go out with. If he winds up on the main roster and not doing anything, sitting in catering, what a waste. I've said this since he had that run in the first ever NXT UK tournament. Like if that guy was 6'4", he'd be a future 10-time world champion.
Yes.
Just because it's Vince's stupid, like, you know,
you have to look like Bron Breakker.
You got to look like Bron Breakker. You got to look like Randy Orton, whatever. Like you got to be that kind of guy. Otherwise, you know, it's not going to work. But he's super talented. He's got stamina for days. Like it's just one of those things that like when he re-signed, I was like, okay, buddy, okay, we'll see how that turns out for you. But I mean, he could go literally anywhere and be one of the best wrestlers in the world. All they do have to do is let him wrestle.
Yeah, this was like point number 2 or 3. I got emotional about ROH too because they are going to run out of room in AEW. Though Malachi Black and Pete Dunne is an absolute dream match in my head. Yeah. But there's going to have to be another place for people to go that are the anti-Grayson Waller, I guess, at this point, which is really the anti-Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
Because we're running out of TV space, and we're definitely not running out of great wrestlers.
So, we got a promo from Grayson Waller. He says, all my social media numbers are up. Not really, though. Like, he's kind of hit his ceiling there. Like, he has far less followers than Denise Salcedo on Twitter. Like, he's not a social media sensation. They're making him into that, but that's not what he is. He's gonna go to SmackDown and slap Roman Reigns or Nakamura next. He says he's gonna make AJ Styles feel the Grayson Waller effect. And let me tell you, the only Grayson Waller effect he has on me, the effect he has on me, Sheila, is to make me want to change the channel. That's the effect he has on yours truly.
To me, it's nausea. That's the Grayson Waller effect, is give me some Pepto, because I do not like this man one bit. And I don't think it's that I don't like him in the way that they want me to not like him.
Right.
I don't like him in a way where nobody talks like this. Like, this is the stuff that I can't stand. No, have you ever met someone in real life, Alex, that goes around saying like, oh, Sean aside, obviously, Sean's always like, oh, it's the SRS effect. Check out my sneaker deal or whatever.
Sure.
No, but like, I don't know. I was at a coffee shop yesterday, Nobody was talking to me about like the barista effect. Like I hate this stuff. I hate it, and that's also me. Like I like CM Punk and Eddie Kingston and Edge and Kevin Owens. I love the natural talkers that sound like people that are actually having a conversation, which is why I hate bitch and you don't have the balls and all those things that we joke about. It just drives me nuts. Like that's what's been so fun about this Lesnar run on the main roster is he's like a real human. And the Grayson Waller effect has the dual downside of being not how anybody talks in real life and making no fucking sense because he has not had a winning streak. There is no effect. The Grayson Waller effect is like 3 matches and absolutely no business in being in a ring with AJ Styles, who worked his ass off to make him look good tonight, which we'll talk about.
Yeah. We
promo set.
Yeah. I want to go circle back to the we hit some humper chats, super chats here. Mark Losper says the pole matches suck universally because they always make people look stupid. Pete had to pretend twice that he couldn't get the crowbar down. He looked like a total dumbass. Yeah, that was a problem because you should be able to at least tug on the crowbar and have it not come down until you reach up there and unfasten it. But that wasn't a thing they could do tonight because of the bad fastening that they did to begin with.
Yeah, part of that's a prop error, and part of it is like that's just something that I've accepted as wrestling reality. Like everybody takes 45 minutes to climb a ladder, except Becky Lynch is really good at not taking forever to climb a ladder. But like you suspend a briefcase up there, everyone's taking forever. Like it's just one of those wrestling things that I've been able to set aside and just accept.
Yes, agreed. Yes, Ricardo El Idolo Agrio, Tony did learn 99 Ways to Die, and he will do that at the end of the show as per the jukebox rules. So don't worry about that. We got about here we go. Mark Losper is throwing in humper chats all over the place, and I'm just gonna read them in a row at the end.
Mark Losper rule. He's doing this to get us an extra half hour of time. I love it.
We're not gonna need it tonight because we're just blasting through this thing. We got Wendy Choo in her first action. Teaming with Persia and Indy against the TikTok Rave team and Amari Miller. And this whole thing, like Wendy Choo came out, she's wearing bunny slippers and footy pajamas, and she's got her sleep mask with her, and her hair's in little bows, and she's got a pillow with her, and her sippy cup, and she's literally laying down on the apron taking a nap during the match. Okay.
This is a medical condition at this point.
It must be, because it's not a gimmick. That's not what a gimmick is. The whole match, honestly, I was just watching her because I was like, are they going to tag her in? And if so, what's that going to be? And they tagged her in, and she was awesome. She was a house of fire. She was doing cartwheels and backflips and shit while wearing bunny slippers, which seems unsafe. And then, like, she hits like suplexes and stuff, and I'm like, so you've decided that this woman who can obviously work and is really good in the ring, you've decided the best course of action is to give her a gimmick where she wears pajamas, children's pajamas, and sleeps all the time. That's what you've decided to do with this woman who's really
and not
good.
even in a bed, just places backstage.
I honestly don't know why you would do that. Like,
God! And here's the thing: I saw so many.
Hold on. If the gimmick is to hide the fact that they suck, I get it. Because then, if you're not a good wrestler, you need a gimmick. But if you are a good wrestler, you kind of don't need a gimmick. At least not this gimmick. So I don't know why you would do that. And then, so at the end of the match, Indy hits her her big elbow drop on Amari Miller and gets the pin, and they win. But the whole thing was built to Wendy Choo's first action, since she was Mei Ying. By the way, Mei Ying was basically put down by Indy Hartwell. Like she had a match versus Indy Hartwell and lost, like pretty badly. And it was like, I don't know why you would book a 5,000-year-old dragon lady to like just take a pin. That didn't make a lot of sense. But now they're best friends because the gimmick has changed.
Yeah, so this is already, people are saying this in the chat too, and I saw so many comparisons to Orange Cassidy online, and I don't buy those because Orange Cassidy uses all of his apathetic shit to get under his opponent's skin. Like, there's an intention to why he is doing it, and that's such an important distinction when you're talking about ring psychology. Orange Cassidy, similarly, also very much can go in the ring. Orange Cassidy is a fantastic in-ring wrestler. His tag stuff with Wheeler Yuta also blew me away. Like, I knew he was great in singles work, but man, can he tag wrestle too, which is really fun when he's in a stable. But when I saw those comparisons, it was just driving me batshit because I was just like, no, Orange Cassidy does this, and commentary will sell you on it, that like all those little like kicks to the shin where he's not actually trying to kick you. It's not because he's just not. It's because he's trying to piss people off and get under their skin, and then he attacks you with very fast-moving offense and the trapper keeper bomb and all that stuff. So there's a very important distinction there, and it needs to be clarified. Somebody who's just narcoleptic, what the fuck are we doing with that?
I also like to take naps. So like, but that's not my gimmick. I just like to take naps.
Right, but it's almost like involuntary. Like,
right. No, I get it.
Like, I don't get it. Yeah. Like, I don't. Yeah. I don't understand why anybody would voluntarily choose to partner with someone who just falls asleep on the job.
They couldn't find anybody else because literally everybody else has been fired. Kate, the Nerd Guru says Wendy Choo versus Orange Cassidy. Book it. Mark Losper says Joel Pearl compared Wendy Choo to Orange Cassidy. This seems uncharitable to say the least. Like if Orange Cassidy, like if her gimmick was just, I'm bored, I'm too cool for school, and then she gets in the ring and can really go, fine. Her gimmick is literally a giant baby, and that's not what Orange Cassidy's gimmick is. Zach Barber says that Wendy is narcoleptic Festus. I mean, kind of. I don't know why you would saddle somebody who can really work with this like this. Like Mark Losper says, a comparison that I assume hasn't been made so far. Wendy Choo and Grayson Waller have the exact same problem. They both proved they can work tonight, but their gimmicks are gigantic anchors stuck around their necks. I mean, Grayson Waller's gimmick is he's annoying. It's not that he's a giant baby. That's a completely different thing. Like Grayson Waller, like, hey, look at me, I'm annoying. Watch how much I can annoy you. Is, I guess, a gimmick. But like this is beyond. This is
gimmicky, right? Like this is like Grayson Waller is someone I've unfortunately have met. Not the way that he talks, but like that piece of shit is somebody that you've seen in life. Mm-hmm. Wendy Choo. Not since my college finals have I seen someone just sleeping in random places in my life. But I understand the super chat that they both showed that they can really go in the ring, but that their respective gimmicks are holding them back. I just don't. This is the Stefan part of the show. This is a lady who just falls asleep during matches on the apron. Like I don't even know how someone thought of this. Like, were they on a drug trip with MSK? Like, I don't get it. Which, as we all know, marijuana will do to you.
Yes.
So,
JW Pringle says, "Don't forget, being a 5,000-year-old dragon lady takes it out of you.
That's actually a really good point.
You gotta rest after dragon lady shenanigans, or you'll get bags under your eyes. You don't want that. Yeah, they got to get the eye cream. You got to put it there. You got a little dabble, do you? The girl at the makeup counter, she said, just a little bit under your eyes, and it'll clear up after a while. She was a liar.
You know, the Betty White said you need 8 hours of beauty sleep, 9 if you're ugly.
That's true.
So maybe she's really ugly.
I get 10 hours every night because of what she said.
Oh, don't you stop it. You're beautiful.
Oh,
you are beautiful.
On.
You do not land 8 husbands if you are ugly.
Well, it's been a while. Like those were all in my 20s and 30s, and of course, I am not anymore. So we got this weird segment where MSK comes out and goes, "Oh wow, look at the big trophy, the same trophy we won last year." And they say it's even more beautiful than I remember it. And then they do weird bad impressions of the other tag teams in the division. And then Dakota Kai comes up and she's, I won this trophy. And we won it. I won it. Don't forget, nothing will ruin a friendship like success. And then she backs away. This was a very odd segment.
If they split up MSK, I will. What did I say I was going to ask Sean a raise for? This is the new that, whatever that is. If they split up MSK, I'm asking for a raise to watch the show.
I mean, how? I don't know, man. They're just those. I don't get it.
Because they're not creative enough to make tag teams actually work. They split them up all the time. And if they can't make MSK freaking work and they split them up, I'm asking Sean for a raise.
Yeah. I don't know what that
Or I'll just start falling asleep during the show.
We got a Solo Sikoa promo as he's taping his hands, taping his wrists for this big old fight with Boa. And then as he's giving the promo, you hear the crowd going, "Ooh, so, like that. Just friggin' do it.
Call him up to the main roster.
Just call him an Uso. That's who he is. Just do it. Let's get it done. Put him on the main roster. I'm sick of this crap because guess what? Now he's locked in a blood feud forever with Boa, who is or is not perhaps possessed by the spirit of a 5,000-year-old dragon lady who is now a large baby child who sleeps a lot.
Oh, I will love this gimmick if he starts just falling asleep. I'm okay with it then. That's amazing. If he just starts falling asleep and we find him backstage just asleep randomly too, I take back literally everything I said and Sean can dock my pay. No, he can't.
Solo Sikoa is better than this. I mean, but poor Boa.
So is Boa.
Everybody's better than this, but like the saddling him with like the, my face paint appears on my face at random moments is a weird thing to do. And they have the match. It's a match. And it devolves into them just beating the tar out of each other on the outside. Double count out. But the fight continues into the back. And we go to commercial. And it's like probably 10 minutes later. And then, they're still fighting in the back. And Solo Sikoa throws Boa over a roadbox and then reaches behind it to grab him, and now Boa can conjure fireballs because that's a thing.
Yeah, have you ever played Mario before? When you hit the firepower flower guy?
Yeah.
And you could just start throwing fireballs? What?
So now he's been horribly burned by Boa. Doesn't Boa like show up? Doesn't his face paint like magically appear again? I don't know. So, and then we hear Wade Breakker go, "This has turned into quite a blood feud." I was like, no, not a blood feud. Can we just get Solo Sikoa moving beyond this to do something else?
This was my issue with. I love a good. It's not about the win or loss backstage brawl thing when it's not abused to death, but they don't hate each other. They just got put in a match. There's not a reason that it would be so personal between somebody who's not even operating in this earth and somebody who is. I just don't. I don't get it. I don't like it. Last time somebody set them entire selves on fire, they were better like 2 weeks later. Remember when the Fiend did that? And he's gone now. I don't know. Like, learn from a single mistake ever, guys. It's terrible.
This is one of those things where like the boa thing is it just feels like they're kind of hitting us over the head with this weird. No, but boa. How could he's a different person now. This thing. It just feels like we're being spoon fed this terrible gimmick. And speaking of things that are fed to you with a spoon,
Cameo. What's up, you guys? It's Sean Ross Sapp. I'm not here physically on the show right now, but I still wanted to tell you about how I'm starting my day no matter where I am with delicious Magic Spoon cereal. 0 grams of sugar, 14 grams of protein, only 4 net grams of carbs in each serving, only 140 calories per serving. Keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, low-carb. It is the ultimate breakfast food. It's the ultimate snack food, and it's the ultimate food for me to take while I'm traveling. Quick, easy, all the flavors you love. Peanut butter, blueberry, cinnamon, cookies and cream, maple waffle, cocoa, fruity, frosted, all over the place. That cookies and cream and maple waffle are back permanently. And if you go to magicspoon.com/Fightful, grab a custom bundle of cereal, try it today. Use our promo code FIGHTFUL at checkout to save $5 off your order if you don't like it. They are so confident in their product. It comes with a 100% happiness guarantee. They'll refund your money, no questions asked, if you don't like it, but you will. It's perfect before, after workouts, as a snack. And my favorite thing about it is you get filled up with one serving. It's not running back and forth to the cupboard to get more, racking up those carbs, racking up those calories. Magicspoon.com/Fightful. Use that code FIGHTFUL.
I enjoy being fed things with a spoon when it's Magic Spoon.
Well, of course, who wouldn't with all of those wonderful flavors?
Yes, all of the wonderful flavors that you can get using code FIGHTFul.
You can use the code FIGHTFul, but I gotta say, and this is, no offense to anybody involved, but when we do it on Fridays, we get the cereal graphic, and I get to eat pixelated cereal like this, and it's kind of fun. So I didn't get to do that this time, and we didn't get to make dick jokes.
Right. Well, on the AEW show on Wednesdays, occasionally he'll do the Helix Sleep, and one night he did like a 3-minute ad read, and I did the whole thing like this.
Oh my God, you could have been Wendy Choo.
I was Wendy Choo for that.
Oh, I'm so jealous. Yeah, I like both stuff.
Yeah,
I think maybe you're just missing that, like, when the face paint appears, it's like this whole other side of him. Much like how I think you might be missing that Mandy is in fact hot. Are you up to speed? Like, do you?
Oh,
just like
yes. I mean, yes. I suppose she is. She is very attractive. That Mandy Rose.
Right. So when the boa is on, and the face paint gets on the face,
right?
I think it's like symbolic of a different side of him. I've thought about this at book club.
Like the Damian Priest on the Raw. He's got the Damian and he's got the Priest, and they're very different, and never the twain shall meet, of course.
Exactly.
Mark Losper says, "Get this spooky magic garbage off my television. It sucked when The Fiend did it. It sucked when Alexa did it. It sucked when Finn did it. It'll suck if any dumbass in AEW does it. Just stop doing it. It only works if you fully commit to the bit, and they're definitely not doing that. So
I will say I kind of like it with Malachi Black, because he always has one foot in both worlds, though, and might be a creative genius."
Yeah. So we got Carmelo Hayes coming out and says he won. Bye-bye, Roderick Strong. You suck. I'm going to pour one out for your cruiserweight title, but then he doesn't pour anything out. Trick Williams does too much talking for my liking. And
what are you doing? Like, I just don't get what he's doing. I never know what he's doing in there. Yeah. It's just, I don't know. Let Carmelo Hayes be Carmelo Hayes. He's so good at every aspect of it already. Doesn't need him.
Luis says that rest in piss to all my ops is the line of the year.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, fair.
I mean, yes, I suppose. He cuts a promo. He's fine. He's a good talker. This wasn't anything, because I expected, honestly, to have the person come out and say, I'm challenging you. But we didn't get that until later, when we see them out in the parking lot, and Cameron Grimes says, I'm coming for that title. Well, yeah, hold down doggies. And so that's what we're going to get there, which is fine. But
do you know how lucky they are that that's all that happened in the NXT parking lot?
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
The most dangerous place on earth. And they got away with it's 2022, the moon, and I'm going to challenge for your title.
He's going to do that up until the end of December.
I hope so.
He's going to do it'll be at War Games. He'll be like, it's 2022, the moon.
I would love that, and that's how he turns heel. Everybody's just like, we fucking know what year it is, bro. Like, that's how. And I want him to say 2022.0 to the moon.
It's 2023, the moon. That doesn't make any sense, Cameron. What are you doing?
A 3 the moon t-shirts.
I don't understand.
So, not that I'm disappointed about Carmelo and Cameron Grimes, because I think it's going to be great, but when nobody answered this challenge and nobody answered Breakker's challenge, I was kind of like, what if Breakker is going to be like, the A title is my title? So
let's not have another unification bout.
Not a unification, just champion versus champion, not for the title bouts, because that's also a good thing to do too. They don't need to defend them immediately this time of year. But I just thought that would have been so great of Breakker being like, no, this is the A title and not yours, just because you said that, because you know that match would hump.
Yes, it would. Speaking of things that would hump,
we don't have a Blue Chew ad today.
Before we got the Cameron Grimes interaction, we had Carmelo Hayes exiting and being interrupted by AJ Styles music. And I was like, don't do that. Now all you're going to do is make me angry. We're not getting Carmelo Hayes versus AJ Styles.
Because
that would be a fucking match. I would have said, everybody stop what you're doing. Tune into this network right now and watch this match, because that would have fucking
I'd be like, yes, they do want some, AJ. Yes, they do want some.
I was like, why? Like, I was saying to myself, why is, and again, this is before I realized they were stupid, but why would they have AJ Styles come to NXT to put over Grayson Waller? Of all people, like, if you wanted to give the AJ Styles rub to somebody, like, pick somebody who's got a really big, huge future in this thing. Already has reached that point where all Carmelo Hayes would need to be seen as like, oh, he's one of the 2 next big things to take over all of WWE. All he would need to get that edge over right there is beating AJ Styles. It would be a huge monumental thing. Grayson Waller, again, when I assumed they weren't stupid, beating AJ Styles, like, what the hell does that get him? That's his first victory in NXT. Like, he's been booked to shit. You just gave him this stupid I'm an annoying heel gimmick, and like, he's doing okay with it, but then what?
Okay, so there's some things to unpack here. The assumption that they aren't stupid is just...
I mean, regarding this one program they were doing.
Thank you for the clarity, because they have not shown you otherwise in a very long time.
No, it's true.
So, yes, I agree with you. My thinking from their stupid little brains, no, my thinking is that they think Carmelo's kind of like almost already there, and maybe they don't want to call him up to the main roster yet. They want him to have a title run, so maybe they don't want people to be like, well, why isn't this guy on the main roster yet? And I think maybe they think Grayson Waller needs the help more than... I feel like everybody's like, Carmelo and Breakker, good to go. They're your guys. Roman's going to go away in 2 movies. These are the guys you got to do a thing with. And I think they think Grayson Waller might be able to hang on the main roster, and they wanted AJ Styles to come down and work a program with him to give him some credibility to push him up to that tier because he's not there yet. That was my only thinking. But my God, give me Carmelo Hayes and AJ Styles because that would slap.
That would slap. So it would slap everything. So many
slap.
would slap.
It would be like a Walter Chop. It would be such a slapping match.
Wow. I'll give you such a slap. But so Mark Losper says, first time I watched the show, 2 completely incomprehensible finishes and some of the worst promos in the universe, but at least they didn't have a top 5 all-timer put over the indie killer. It could have been worse. Now, here's the deal. AJ Styles wins. It proves that that Grayson Waller at least is a better wrestler than Omos. Because
very much so, yeah.
I've always said that if AJ Styles can't get a good match out of somebody, that person has no hope. Omos has no hope. Grayson Waller at least didn't look bad in a match with AJ Styles. I really appreciated the selling he did of the calf crusher after that. I thought he acquitted himself well. Good for you, Grayson Waller. Now, Grayson Waller was hit by the phenomenal forearm after a hell of a near fall on his little rolling into the ring stunner thing that he did on AJ.
Yes.
That sold me a ticket. I was like, well, that's how you're going to win. Okay, fine. But he didn't. AJ Styles kicked out of that and hit the phenomenal forearm to win. And don't get me wrong, Kate. I am happy AJ Styles won. AJ Styles should not be putting over anybody like Grayson Waller. But if the whole point of all of this wasn't to put over Grayson Waller, then I am left wondering what the whole point of all of this was. Like, Grayson Waller still hasn't won a match in NXT, and you're still trying to make him into this big thing. And not only that, but after the match, Kate, AJ Styles did a little verbal putting over, like, you're good, you're just not phenomenal. However, and this is where it got interesting for a different reason. Here's one of my friends, because your night's not over. And then LA Knight shows up. Last time we saw him was right after War Games, where Grayson Waller knocked him out and stole his car. And so LA Knight beats Grayson Waller all over the ring. And then he gets to celebrate with AJ Styles. They hug and everything. And so the next thing now, apparently for Grayson Waller, is to fight LA Knight. And maybe LA Knight puts him over. But like, you spent weeks on this whole Grayson Waller AJ Styles thing. You flew Grayson Waller to 2 separate editions of Raw. You had AJ come to Orlando twice to be in the actual, like, why do all of this if the whole point is to not give Grayson Waller the AJ rub? And again, I agree. It's a good thing that AJ won. But this didn't seem to be the story you were telling. And now I don't know how Grayson comes out better. Like, yeah, I guess, oh, good, the kid can wrestle. But still, he literally has not won a match in NXT. What are we doing?
So my bigger problem is the story part of it, because realistically, AJ Styles is a caliber wrestler that if you hang with him, you should be made. That is
Hold
not.
on one second. I want to clear this up. He did beat Odyssey Jones with that stunner. I forgot. He's won 1 match.
Okay, and the War Games match, but he didn't really have anything to do with that.
He had nothing to do with that.
That was the Tony D show, baby.
But Bron Breakker won that match.
He did.
Yes, that was not. No, he didn't do that. But yes, yeah.
But we'll put it this way: he doesn't have a lot of like winning momentum.
No, he does not.
He just was given this, and
right. Here's
the thing. I think he's looked like someone who is pretty good with as much experience as he has. This is like not even on Grayson Waller so much. My issue is with the story. I like AJ going over. I'm wondering if part of his agreement to work this angle was that he wins so that he doesn't come out looking like
why have him work the angle? I see somebody saying it's going to be a ratings ploy. I don't, well, we'll have to see tomorrow. I don't know what kind of a ratings bump this is going to be. Maybe it's going to be a serious thing, but like at least on the main roster, they did a thing where they were like, hey, Grayson Waller showing up. Everybody tune in to watch AJ versus Grayson Waller. They did that for a couple of weeks. They refused to do that for Riddle coming to NXT to team with MSK. They never mentioned it once on the show. So it is kind of weird that they're not like consistent with it.
So I wish the story that they told was a real one about the fact that AJ Styles is one of the best wrestlers to ever do this in the whole world. He's on people's Mount Rushmores. He's in my top 10 wrestlers of all time. He's amazing. Tell that story, because then this outcome makes sense to me. And it's true. If you can hang with AJ Styles, that should mean something, even if you lose. And what's funny to me is for their godforsaken love of distraction finishes, you don't protect Grayson Waller with this one is beyond me. I was like, of all the matches that don't have a distraction or end in a no DQ, the fact that this one didn't is surprising, because the distraction finish would have let all of the same things happen well. It might have been a ratings ploy. I think maybe the Riddle stuff, because he wasn't supposed to be the shaman.
I know, but still.
And because I wonder if Walter actually getting into the US was just too much of a question mark.
Perhaps.
For them. But I think that I just wish they had told the better story, because I like the booking outcome, and it should mean something that you get to be in a ring with AJ Styles, but that's just not what they told us this whole time.
Right.
They told us about the Grayson Waller effect, which isn't a thing. So
right. Well, here's the thing that is so maddening to me is that wins and losses matter so little that people can lose and lose and lose and lose and lose literally for 10 months, then get one pinfall victory in a non-title match over the champs, and then the next week win the titles, which is what Alpha Academy did last night. Or you can have Doudrop, who literally has not won a match since October, lost 3 in a row to Bianca Belair, whined and demanded she be put in a triple threat match for the number one contendership, and then she wins that match. Like, you will literally book anybody to win anything at any time without heating up anybody at all. That's the thing, is that Grayson Waller all of a sudden could beat LA Knight in this feud and then get a title match versus Bron Breakker, even though he's only won 2 matches.
And I will say this, that should be more forgivable at the developmental level.
Yeah.
And it's worse on the main roster.
Yeah.
Don't even get me started on the Doudrop thing with Becky, because Becky also looked at her like she's never faced anybody's Doudrop size, and Nia Jax literally split her face open.
Nia Jax doesn't exist anymore because she was.
I digress. Don't get me started with the Becky Lynch.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I didn't hate it. I just wish it aligned with the story that they told, because that should mean something. Getting in the ring with, because in real life, Grayson Waller was probably like, holy shit, I get to face AJ Styles. What the hell is my life, right? Like, tell that, because
especially considering up until a couple of months ago, they had booked him to lose literally every match.
Everything.
And looked like a joke doing it.
Yeah, and about hosting Halloween Havoc, right? Like, to go from that to facing somebody as legendary to this business as AJ Styles is a big deal. And I just think it would have been such a great story for both of them, because it's like acknowledging what AJ means. He is a first ballot Hall of Famer. You know, Wade Barrett was trying to tell that story on commentary a lot here, which I appreciated. But like, that would have been so great of like this guy. I think what they're like, remember in WWE CW, which I like to rib people and say is the only ECW that matters. They did this like coaching thing, and I wonder if this is, they're like, we're gonna do that again, but it's gonna be more offshoots. I wonder if this is like them dipping their toe in the water with that idea again, because that wasn't the worst. It makes sense with the developmental program, but like, that's just not what they were selling us here.
The Nerd Guru says, yeah, but Becky walked off that face break, so it's fine. It's fine. It's just it didn't really happen. Yeah, it's anyway. Let's do our Humper Chats and Super Chats.
Okay.
So the Nerd Guru says, shout out to the undefeated Paul Hensler. Pete Dunne and Ciampa got to be going to the main roster. AJ not losing is shocking. Linda and Sheila coexist.
We do.
We've been coexisting for years.
For decades.
Yeah.
For decades. My dad's undefeated stuff was in the chat because we were talking about how MJF is winless this year, and my dad has had no losses in wrestling. My dad has never lost a wrestling match.
There you go. Mark Losper says, I can only assume the point of the AJ Styles thing was to pop a one-night rating. Not the people watching in Australia count ratings, but I wouldn't have watched if AJ wasn't there. So there you go. I mean, perhaps we'll have to see tomorrow. Like I don't know what it did. If it's still the same 500,000 around that with the average age being 65 years old, then we'll know it didn't actually do anything.
I also just assumed they gave up on this being a ratings brand. So that would just be.
I honestly don't know if USA Network's ever going to really give up on that.
That's a very fair point. That's a very good point.
Mark Losper, when I said that he actually watched the show tonight for us, he says, no, don't get me wrong, I love the two of you, but this is an AJ Styles household. I needed to see that main event to see how much I hate Vince. Turns out it's still a lot, but not as much as it could have been.
I can respect that. I appreciate that.
Mark Osper again says, firstly, Grayson Waller mispronounced WrestleMania, then said he creates WrestleMania moments by listing non-WrestleMania moments. This was hilariously bad. Yes, I did not like that one.
Correct.
At all. And then he says, Grayson Waller shows yet another gigantic flaw in Vince/Bruce booking. They think that by forcing someone down our throats constantly, they'll organically get over. It's 5 years of Roman WrestleMania all over again. They just don't learn. But this time they don't want us to cheer Grayson Waller. They want us to boo him. So the fact that we're booing him, it works. I mean, I don't know if it does.
Go home, Heat.
And the Nerd Guru says Vince must be really into Impact so much that he's not only bringing in the Knockouts champion, but teaming up Eli Drake and GOAT X Division champ AJ Styles.
Well played. I thought about that actually as I was watching.
I was like, "What was there a crossover between Eli Drake and AJ Styles?" Like, I didn't remember specifically, but
there you go.
Yeah, and James Nepper says, "I can see Grayson Waller being called up to just join Corbin, but for a first, they wouldn't because it would make sense." Yeah, I mean, like that guy's an actual heat magnet. Everybody hates him. I mean, for the wrong reasons, but same thing with Corbin. So there you go.
Yeah, let's add to that stable. He can be like Wallaby Waller Wilkinson.
The Nerd Guru says, I wonder if they'll do the bi-monthly random main roster person who comes to NXT to do a pointless story with someone new. If so, give me Breakker versus Kevin Owens.
Give me Kevin Owens versus anyone, but yeah that would be fantastic. I also thought, who was I thinking of the other day? Because I had the same thought. Cesaro, maybe. Cesaro and Ricochet, I was like, they could go do some fun stuff down there.
Yeah, no, there's a whole bunch of people up there who aren't doing anything, which is amazing because they have nobody up there. You know, it's like
pathetic.
But if Kevin Owens show, like, here's the thing, I loved what they were doing with Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins, but apparently that's not a thing anymore because Seth Rollins has to go to SmackDown to face Roman Reigns. He's not allowed to bring his new buddy Kevin Owens, and if that's the case, Kevin Owens showing up next week on NXT saying, I heard there's a new guy in charge here who's got my old title. Yeah. I'd like that back. That would be amazing.
I would absolutely adore that. And just thank God we made such a big deal of the brand split.
So let's work our way backwards through the show with all these Humper Chat Super Chats till we get to the jukebox. Thanks everybody for sending in Super Chats and Humper Chats.
Last call, flickering the lights at the bar.
Mark Losper says via the Harland finish, what the hell was this? Gacy talks about wanting to win the cup, then Harland does the Vinny V DQ for kicking too much ass finish, followed by Gacy smiling. Whatever this is trash. Yeah, I wish that Gacy had at least walked down to the other end of the apron to try and get Harland's attention, because he was like, we want to win this tournament. Well, you're not going to do that if your protege can't let a guy up out of the corner. And then Mark Losper talks about the Imperium promo. Foreign heel gimmicks in 2022. The boys are definitely back in town. At least when they did that in AEW, it ruined Cody's career. So that was something.
Well, see, Toxic Attraction is hot.
Yeah.
And this stable is not fat. I can't say fit.
Yes.
They're not fat.
R26 says that Damon Kemp sounds like a bench player for the Phoenix Suns.
Oh, guys, it would just make my night if everybody told me what Damon Kemp was. You can do it on my Twitter. You can super chat him. Just tell me what Damon Kemp is.
Yeah.
Who's Damon Kemp in your life?
Mark Losper says Cameron Grimes is a good promo, a good worker. He's over, and commentary is talking about this year being his year. I look forward to him chasing Dana Brooke in 3 months.
2022, the 24/7 title.
2022, the 24/7. 2-4.
2022 4/7 title.
Oh God.
Something hair.
Bron says about
Breakker?
about the Breakker promo. Valab says my one regret is we never got Samoa Joe and Bron feuding. It did seem like if you were just going to release him, having him show up tonight and working a 1-2 week program with Bron Breakker and being like, hey, how's it going? I held that belt before that guy you beat, and I never lost it.
Correct.
I'd like it back, kiddo. I think that would have been huge. That would have popped a rating. Samoa Joe is back, everybody. People who had left would come back to see. Can this kid go with the legendary Samoa Joe? That might have been a thing that they could have done. If you're just going to fire him anyway, it doesn't matter if you think he's medically cleared or not. By the way, he says he is. So just clear him to work that one match with the kid, have him put over the kid, pop a rating on whatever that was right there for you. He was in the building. They never addressed it. He gave up the title because he was injured, quote unquote, and we never saw him again.
And by the way, he's old school as shit. He probably would have loved to have gone out on his back.
Absolutely. It's an easy story too. It's
right
just
fucking there.
Yeah. Anyway, Hamancito Gomez says who should Breakker work with? On the current roster?
I mean, I already threw Carmelo Hayes out there.
I mean, I want them to have separate programs for a while.
Sure.
Dunn. Dunn would be something, but I don't know.
Roddy Strong, I guess.
Roddy would
be a good.
I don't love Roddy coming off of a loss of his championship, getting that an upgrade. Santos, I guess, is something they might be hinting at.
Oh, sure.
That's a guy that you could easily, that certainly doesn't have to win a match at this point in his NXT career. Luis suggests Blonde Uso, maybe further down the line. Sure. I think one of the main reasons you might see Breakker come up quicker than not is because he doesn't have a whole lot of people to feud with right now.
Yeah, but that's not going anywhere, so they got to figure that's going to be the case no matter who is champion. Yeah. I was honestly hoping they would have found a story to bring
the next
one more time because I like trilogies, but I just like trilogies.
The next champion is Grayson Waller. I've already accepted that. He's the next champion.
So
whether or not he wins some fatal 4-way or whatever, or a battle royal after Braun vacates the title, or whether or not he beats Braun, Grayson Waller is your next champion. I 100% believe that. I mean, it sucks.
Think a triple threat with Boa versus Boa, face paint Boa versus Braun is the next move.
Jay Blood says, my dad is Mr. Breakker. Call me Braun, please. That's good.
Hello, sir.
No. My dad is Mr. Breakker. Call me Braun.
Mr. Steiner, I'm sorry.
Some stupid punk says, Braun, who is your daddy and what does he do? My daddy is Rick Steiner, and he is a dog-faced gremlin. Oh, by the way, yes, there was a dueling AJ Styles Grayson Waller chant during the match tonight.
They've got to be. They're definitely instructing these crowds.
Those are
right.
plants. Those are plants.
Yeah.
Mark Losper says, given how completely inorganic most of the champ sounded tonight, I wouldn't be shocked if the "no you don't" in the "you deserve it" stuff were some twisted idea from Vince. Yeah.
I can see
that. Braun, Mark Losper says, if that had happened, Samoa Joe coming out, Braun would have said to Samoa Joe, "Bring it on, fat ass! I'll kick your ass just like my uncle did."
Oh, hell yeah!
That would have been good. That's good. Yeah, I don't know.
I like that you have one glove on, like you're Michael Jackson.
It's easier for me to type without the thing. That I can just try and warm up. When my stuff when you're not seeing my hands, I'm just doing this down below some yes.
Space heater.
Yeah, well, no, I have one. It's just super loud.
Oh yeah,
so, yeah. Anyway, this is just us having a conversation. We're not even doing a show anymore. We're not even doing a show anymore.
I like Blanford, to keep my bill down, so I get the space.
Sean Blanford says, "Hello, Kalex. He's hoping you both had a great week. I'm interested in two things. What will Tony D do next after being Pete Dunne? And why isn't AJ Styles facing Roman at the Rumble instead of wasting his time with Grayson Waller? May Gabagool be with you and also with you." Tony D, I honestly don't know. Like, there's a lot of interesting things there. I since they're doing Cameron Grimes, seemingly, I think he's a natural next challenger for Carmelo down the line. I think there could be something really fun for Tony D and Carmelo, but I don't know what he does right now. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's a good question. Don't do something with him and Boa.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Yeah, because he's an interesting one. Like another more character-y guy, I think would be helpful for him. But he also just proved with Pete Dunne, he doesn't necessarily need that. So
yeah,
something mid-cardy. Also, was that Sean Blanford? Did you say?
Yeah.
Sean Blanford just wrote like a 3,000-word article that he published. So go read it. He's awesome. His handle is MovieVerb. He's always awesome and supporting. So go support him.
Yes, please do. The Nerd Guru says R.E. the Nakamura being injured. He says, Linda darling, Mr. Boog said that about Nakamura on Ryan Satin's show. I wonder if is Boog also a barber? I'm not really sure.
Was that barbershop gossip or was that the truth? Because I don't know what they say at the barbershops. I go to the salon.
Mark Losper says, do you mean you guys don't think that Ring of Honor 2.0 is happening? I was looking forward to all the colors and ex-football players who can't work.
Well, Ring of Honor ain't never going to be that just for budget reasons. But they did announce a show in Dallas, the collective Mania weekend thing. So that's exciting, but I don't think it's going to be what it was.
No, probably not. Okay, so here we go. Brendan Towngate says, this is the best show ever. Brendan Towngate says, we all need Linda and Sheila in our lives. Valab says, Linda and Sheila make me pay for a free show. Some Stupid Punk says, Kate, remember the projector? Projecting is all I do. And Jay Blood says, Linda and Sheila are treasures.
Linda and Sheila. I had a voice memo that didn't work, but I was like, I got to start putting R's on the back of my A's.
Linda and Sheila.
Linda and Sheila.
Lindarin or Sheilarin. Like, you got to actually, if you're gonna do the and, yeah. So here's the Ty Knowles wants me to say as Regal, it was me, sunshine. And then Brian Sullivan says, I was thinking, Kate probably does a mean share from Clueless, which is perfect for Daddy's favorite wrestler now in NXT. Do you do a mean share from Clueless?
I haven't tried a share, but Sean says as if all the time, which I really respect him trying to bring that back.
Yeah,
I don't know if she has a distinct, Valley Girl voice, I guess.
Yeah. Pretty much that's it.
But I think I would need something to say. I'll work on it, Ryan.
Mm-hmm. So now Ricardo Lillo wants me to do Megadeth's 99 Ways to Die as Tony D'Angelo. So I'll do that for everybody. Hold on, here we go. If I see the morning hours, I have one more yesterday. Take life from tomorrow because I burned out my today. If I get up to the top, I know I'll just go back downhill. I got a terminal future, and it's time to write my will. I downed another glass of courage and a shot of Thorazine. We're not ready to see you yet. 99 Ways to Die. We're not ready to see you yet. 99 Ways to Die, of which I know 98 of them. My uncle won't tell me the last one.
I hope it's not Death by Pastrami.
I love that he said in his promo tonight, there's 16 ways to use a crowbar.
Yes.
I'm only going to need 3 of them. I was like, I need to know the whole list.
Tony,
get on. I know you must watch the show, Tony D. Get on your Instagram and tell me all 16 ways.
I will super chat Tony D for all 16 ways.
Yeah. We get now the Regal promo versus Triple H from 2004. That I'm going to read now. It's a bit of a read. Dear. Someone has lost their temper, haven't they? I hate to be the one to inform you, lad, but Eugene isn't here this week. You honestly don't think I would lead that lamb to slaughter? No. What kind of a man do you think would let Eugene into the building last week? Rather perplexing question, isn't it? What kind of a diabolical villain do you think would tell Eugene to get involved in your match? It was me, sunshine. You see, me and you know each other very well indeed, don't we? Let me give you people a little history lesson. 11 years ago, me and you were a tag team in WCW. In fact, I was your mentor, wasn't I? Yes, indeed I was. What can I say? I mean, let's face facts. Some people like us, were just born naughty, we are. That's why we've gravitated toward each other. And if you would have used and abused anyone else except for that poor dear boy Eugene, I would have applauded your cunning. But for a clever man like yourself, it was very foolish to take advantage of a disadvantaged boy, because now you've made an enemy out of me. And if you want to fight, look no bloody further, because I will quite gladly now go and change into my ring attire, and I will join you back into that ring, and I will battle you with every ounce of violent venom that runs through my veins. That was William Regal.
That's amazing. Thank you for keeping him alive on our show, even though he was.
Yeah, he's never going to go away because we still have the William Regal rap to do.
Of course we do, Pana.
Tony D does Sleepwalker by Method Megadeth. You'll see why next week. Ricardo del Idolo del. I'm going to do that next week.
Ricardo El Idolo.
And now we come to the Regal rap.
Yes.
Here we go. Here we go. Mark Losper says, no jukebox request today. Just want to reiterate that you guys are fantastic and also put myself at the top of the money rankings for now. Bring on that extra half hour SRS. Here we go. Tonight's Regal rap, courtesy of Zach Barber, is Fight the Power by Public Enemy. All right, here we go. 1989, the number, another summer. Sound of the funky drummer. Music hitting your heart because I know you got soul. Listen if you're missing. Y'all swinging while I'm singing. Hey, giving what you're getting. Knowing what I know, and while the black band's sweating and the rhythm rhyme rolling, got to give us what we want. Got to give us what we need. Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power. Fight the power. Let me hear you say, fight the power. As the rhythm's designed to bounce, what counts is that the rhythm's designed to fill your mind. Now you've realized the pride's arrived. We got to pump the stuff to make you tough. From the heart, it's a start, a work of art. To revolutionize, make a change. Nothing strange. People, we are the same. No, we're not the same because we don't know the game. What we need is awareness. We can't get careless. You say, what is this? My beloved, let's get down to business. Mental self-defensive fitness, bum rush the show. You got to go for what you know to make everybody see in order to fight the powers that be. Thanks everybody.
We're so early. Got like 30 entire seconds.
30 seconds left, but I don't want to have Sean put up a poll about firing us again.
Let's take a nap like Wendy Choo and call it a show.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. Be on the lookout for Have You Heard from Linda and Sheila.
Have you heard?
It's coming eventually. But thank you very much for tuning into the NXT After Party show. Bye-bye, and we'll see you next week, of course. Bye-bye.
Bye.
May Gabagool be with you or whatnot. Keep cool, Gabagool.